left NXT as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and this Forbidden Door dream match has been cancelled. But first, former WWE and ECW star Tommy Dreamer has revealed that he was recently diagnosed with skin cancer for the third time. Dreamer, who is currently a producer for Impact Wrestling, revealed the diagnosis on his House of Hardcore podcast this week. This when discussing what the shiny mark was on his head. He would attribute the cancer to years of tanning beds and lack of sunscreen, adding that he recently underwent surgery to remove the cancerous growth on his head, resulting in 42 stitches, 23 of those on the outside and 19 on the inside. He would note that the doctors managed to remove the entirety of the cancer and said that the surgery worked out as planned, which is of course great news. This is the third time that Tommy's been diagnosed with skin cancer throughout his life, although luckily he's been able to catch it in time on all 3 occasions. And next up, the ratings are in for the debut episode of AEW Collision. On Saturday night, All Elite Wrestling would present the first episode of their brand new Saturday night show, Collision, which would feature the long-anticipated return of CM Punk. According to WrestleNomics, the show would end up drawing an average of 816,000 viewers on the night. This slightly less than AEW Dynamite from the same week, which averaged 832,000 viewers. Whilst the number is just slightly less, Saturday nights have been expected to be difficult for ratings, rendering the debut episode a success. As for the key demo ratings that advertisers use to judge shows, Collision would be ranked third in this regard across all of cable with a 0.33, which calculates to around 430,000 people aged between 18 and 49. The show would rank only behind the UFC and College World Series Baseball, which drew 0.39 and 0.37 respectively. As for total viewerships, the baseball averaged 1.6 million viewers, whilst UFC averaged 943,000 viewers. This 0.33 key demo rating for Collision was actually superior to that of AEW Dynamite, which drew 0.3. As for individual segments, the opening CM Punk promo was watched by an average of 868,000 viewers, and whilst the show would drop down to 756,000 average viewers for the women's tag match, 834,000 viewers would tune in for the close of the main event 6-man tag match that saw Punk and FTR defeat Samoa Joe and Bullet Club Gold. Compare this to the highest rated segment from AEW Dynamite, which was the opening portion of the match between MJF and Adam Cole that averaged 918,000 viewers, with the lowest rated segment of the night being the main event between the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club, which averaged 699,000 viewers. This appears to show that Collision did a better job at holding its audience over its Wednesday night counterpart. The real test for Collision is now to maintain these numbers on a consistent basis, with the hope being that this well-executed first episode will be enough to keep people around on Saturday nights. And before we continue, do you want to get your hands on this weekend's Forbidden Door pay-per-view for just $19.99? Well, if you use the combination of our NordVPN and Fight affiliate links, you can do just that. First, NordVPN allows you to change the location of your device in order to access websites and services that you wouldn't be able to use in your country, and in this instance a whole bunch of countries worldwide can access Forbidden Door on Fight for the aforementioned $19.99, such as here in the United Kingdom, although I would recommend using Lithuania, which appears to work better in my testing. Once you're connected, head over to our Fight affiliate link where you can see the pay-per-view for just that price. You'll also have access to the AEW Plus streaming service, which costs just $6.99 a month and contains every episode of All Elite Wrestling television on demand in one place. There is also a 7-day free trial if you just want to test it out. You can also watch Dynamite, Collision and Rampage live and ad-free. So be sure to head over to our NordVPN and Fight affiliate links in the description below, the perfect tag team for any wrestling fan. And speaking of tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, it may be a show that could see a potential appearance from a major New Japan Pro-Wrestling star. Last night on Twitter, AEW president Tony Khan would announce that Bryan Danielson is set to appear on the show to call out Kazuchika Okada ahead of their match at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view this weekend. If Okada does appear, it will be the first time the two men have come face to face since the match was made official, with their only interactions happening when the other isn't in the building. The match was first teased when the American Dragon appeared at New Japan Dominion on the big screen from the mountains of Las Vegas to challenge the Rainmaker, a challenge that would be accepted. But do you think we'll hear a coin drop tonight on AEW Dynamite? Let me know in the comments down below. And let's head across to some WWE news, and more specifically coming out of last night's episode of NXT, where the WWE World Heavyweight Championship would be on the line. The latest edition of the Black and Gold brand would see Seth Rollins put his main roster title on the line against former NXT champion Bron Breakker, this in the main event of the Gold Rush special. In the end, it would take two big stomps to the up-and-comer to put him away, with Rollins standing tall as still champion at the end of the match. However, this wasn't the end of the night for Rollins, as another main roster star would show up, that being current Monday Night Raw rival Finn Balor, who made his NXT return to lay the world champion out. Balor was relentless in his attack, this before current NXT champion Carmelo Hayes as well as Trick Williams chased off the Judgment Day leader as the show came to a close. Earlier this month, Fightful Select would reveal that talks had been held within AEW for a match between CM Punk and New Japan Pro-Wrestling star Kenta, this for the Forbidden Door pay-per-view this weekend. The match feels like a natural fit due to the two men's war of words throughout the years over Punk's use of Kenta's go-to-sleep finishing move, with fans calling for the match to take place for over a decade. Unfortunately, it appears that the match will no longer be taking place after all, this after yet another report from Fightful revealed that the plans appear to be off. It appears that it was Kenta's refusal to work the match that scuppered plans, and the report notes, Fightful Selectors learnt that Kenta expressed to NJPW and AEW that he isn't facing CM Punk at the Forbidden Door show, as word started to make way around Collision this past week. As of the first episode of Collision, AEW was considering who CM Punk should face at Forbidden Door, or if he'll even be wrestling on the show. NJPW sources had confirmed to Fightful that Kenta and CM Punk had been planned for the event, but as of this weekend, it wasn't happening. We weren't given a reason as to why, but were told that by the time Kenta had tweeted, Kenta vs Punk is never going to happen, that was in response to him actually being out of the match. It's worth noting that Fightful said Punk himself was open to the match, although this feeling doesn't appear to be mutual. The story also follows another recent report from Fightful concerning a yet-to-air interview involving CM Punk, where he wasn't thrilled with working with Kenta and may come across badly, although it was said that this was by design to build to the match. Perhaps this is some kind of work shoot, but we'll know by the weekend. What makes this story strange is that upon CM Punk's AEW return in August 2021, Kenta was pretty relentless in his public desire to work a match with the Second City Saint, having called him out several times over the past 2 years, with him ultimately being the one to nix the match in the end. As for whether Punk will even appear at the Forbidden Door following the news, Fightful would add that other opponents are being discussed, although most top NJPW talent were booked for other opponents, though not officially announced. We'll now have to wait and see if there will be a reshuffle of the internal card in the days ahead. And before you go, make sure you check out the truth behind CM Punk's secret wrestling returns before AEW.